You're pathetic. Look at this mess. Get out of my way. Take this, please. Thank you, child. Wait, you...
Pick them up, girl. Every single orange. Denise Caldwell's voice sliced through the Atlanta street market before Maya Brooks could even speak. The wooden crate lay broken on its side. Bright oranges rolled across the dirty pavement, under polished shoes, into muddy rainwater, past laughing mouths and raised phones. Maya stood frozen in the middle of the crowd. Her faded yellow dress was damp with sweat. Her old sneakers had split near the toes. Her hands were rough from carrying fruit since sunrise. In her pocket, she had $6, a torn bus ticket, and a folded hospital bill with Caleb Brooks printed at the top. Caleb was only 12. Caleb needed medicine before night. And now Maya's only hope was rolling through the dust. Denise stepped closer in a cream designer suit, gold earrings, and dark sunglasses that shone under the morning sun. Behind her stood Officer Grant and 2 market security guards. Behind them stood shoppers with clean bags, expensive watches, and eyes that judged faster than truth could speak. Denise pointed at the oranges. "This is not a charity corner," she said. "This is a respectable market." Maya bent down quickly, gathering the fruit with shaking fingers. "Ma'am, please. I paid for this spot. Mr. Harris said I could sell here until Friday." Denise gave a cold laugh. "Mr. Harris is old. I am in charge today." Maya reached into her torn brown bag. "I have the receipt. Please let me show you." Before she could open it, Denise knocked the bag from her hand. Papers scattered across the pavement. A rent notice, a pharmacy slip, the hospital bill, 3 coins, and 1 small old photograph. The crowd leaned closer. Someone whispered, "Look at all those bills." Another voice said, "People like her always have a story." A young man lifted his phone higher. Maya dropped to her knees and pulled the papers toward her chest, trying to hide her pain from strangers. Denise placed 1 polished heel beside the hospital bill. "Do not bring your problems to my market." Maya looked up. Her eyes were wet, but her voice stayed soft. "He is my brother. I'm not asking for charity. I'm only asking to work." Denise bent down, close enough for Maya to smell her perfume. "Then work somewhere people cannot see you." A few people laughed. Maya looked at Officer Grant. His face was still. Not kind, not cruel, just silent. "Sir," she whispered, "please. I have never caused trouble. I just need today. By evening, I can buy his medicine." Officer Grant glanced at the broken crate. For 1 second, his hand lowered. For 1 second, Maya thought someone might listen. Then Denise turned sharply. "Officer, remove her goods now, or I will report that you allowed illegal vending in front of paying customers." The hope died before Maya could touch it. 1 guard kicked an orange away from her knee. Another grabbed the crate. Maya held the edge with both hands. "Please, no. This is all I have." Denise's voice rose so everyone could hear. "All you have is not welcome here." Then a weak voice came from near the market gate. "Please, may I have 1 orange?" The crowd turned. An elderly black woman stood there with a stained scarf over gray hair, a heavy coat in the heat, and cracked shoes that barely held together. She leaned on a wooden cane. Her lips were dry. Her hands trembled. To the crowd, she was nobody, just a beggar woman, just another poor soul to step around. Denise covered her nose with 2 fingers. "Not another one." The old woman lowered her head. "I have not eaten since yesterday." Someone laughed. A woman with a designer purse whispered, "They are everywhere now." Denise snapped, "Get away from this market before I have you removed too." Maya looked at the woman. Then she looked at the oranges on the ground. 1 orange had rolled near her foot. It was bruised but not split. Maya picked it up and wiped it carefully on her dress. Denise saw her. "Do not you dare feed her." Maya froze. The old woman looked away in shame. And that shame cut Maya deeper than Denise's insults. Maya held out the orange anyway. "She is hungry." Denise stepped closer. "And you are stupid." Maya's lips trembled. "Maybe, but hunger does not wait for permission." The crowd went silent. Poor people were not supposed to answer with dignity. Denise's face hardened. "Dump the crate." The guards lifted what remained of Maya's oranges and poured them onto the pavement. The sound was small, but inside Maya, it felt like thunder. Fruit split open. Juice ran into dust. A child reached for one, but his mother pulled him back. Do not touch that. It is dirty. Maya fell to her knees again. Please, Miss Caldwell, she begged. Let me keep half. I will leave this corner. I will sell by the bus stop. I will not bother anyone. Just let me buy my brother's medicine. Denise stared down at her. Your brother is not my problem. Maya pressed the old photograph and hospital bill against her chest. I already lost my mother. I cannot lose him too. For a moment, the market became quiet. Even the phone seemed still. The old beggar woman lifted her face. Her eyes moved to the photograph in Maya's hand. Something changed in her breathing. Something small. Something hidden. But Denise noticed only Maya's weakness. She snatched the photograph. What is this? Another sad little trick? Maya reached up in panic. No, please. That is my mother. Denise glanced at the faded picture for half a second and tossed it onto the ground. Then pick up your mother with the rest of your trash. A gasp moved through the crowd. No one stepped forward. Maya crawled toward the photograph before a shoe could crush it. Her tears fell on the faded face of Mrs. Lillian Brooks. The guards pulled Maya up by her arms. Her bag fell open again. Coins scattered over the pavement like tiny pieces of shame. People laughed because Denise was powerful. People recorded because Maya was weak. Denise waved toward the gate. Throw her out. If she comes back tomorrow, call the police. Maya stumbled as the guards dragged her past the ruined oranges, past the rich shoppers, past the people who had bought from her last week and pretended not to know her today. At the gate, she twisted free for 1 second. She could have run. She could have cursed. She could have kept the last orange for herself. Instead, she turned back to the old woman and placed the bruised orange into her trembling hands. Maya's voice was almost broken. Ma'am, please eat this. You look hungrier than me. The old woman stared at the orange as if it weighed more than gold. Then her eyes dropped to the old photograph pressed against Maya's chest. The wind lifted one corner. For 1 sharp second, the faded woman beside Lillian became visible. The beggar woman stopped moving. Her hand tightened around the cane. The guards pushed Maya through the gate, and Denise smiled like she had won. But behind them, the old woman whispered one name with shock, pain, and memory in the same breath. Lillian, Lillian, the old beggar woman whispered the name, but the market swallowed it. Maya Brooks was already outside the gate, pushed onto the dusty sidewalk with her torn bag pressed to her chest. Behind her, Denise Caldwell stood under the bright morning sun in her cream designer suit, clean, calm, untouched. Maya stood with orange juice on her hands, dust on her knees, and tears she tried not to let fall. Between them was the iron gate of the market. On one side, polished shoes, shopping bags, gold watches, and people with phones. On the other side, Maya, $6, a hospital bill, and no way to buy Caleb's medicine. Denise lifted her sunglasses and smiled. Look at you, Maya. You do not even belong outside the gate. Maya held the old photograph tighter. Please, Miss Caldwell, let me take the fruit that is still clean. I will leave. I will sell by the bus stop. Denise gave a small laugh. You're still begging after being thrown out. Maya shook her head. I'm not begging. I'm trying to save my brother. Officer Grant looked away. That hurt almost as much as Denise's words. Maya had seen him buy oranges from her before. He had smiled then. He called her respectful. But now, with Denise watching him, his kindness had disappeared. The elderly woman took one slow step closer, the bruised orange still in her trembling hand. Her stained scarf moved in the wind. Her cracked shoes looked ready to fall apart. But her eyes were sharp now. Too sharp for a woman everyone had dismissed. She looked at Maya, then at the photograph pressed against Maya's chest. Child, she said softly, what is your name? Maya wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. Maya Brooks, Mom. The old woman went still. Brooks? Denise snapped. Do not answer her. She is nobody. Maya looked at the old woman anyway. Yes, ma'am. My mother was Mrs. Lillian Brooks. The old woman's fingers closed around the orange until her knuckles shook. She did not explain. She did not step forward and save Maya. She only stared, as if the name had opened a wound no one else could see. Denise noticed the silence and hated it. Enough of this drama, she said. Old beggars, young beggars, sick brothers, dead mothers. This market is not a church. A few people laughed again, but softer this time. One woman lowered her phone. A fruit vendor near the gate looked at the ruined oranges and whispered, "She did pay yesterday." Denise turned her head slowly. "What did you say?" The vendor's face changed. Fear won. "Nothing, Miss Caldwell." For one tiny second, Maya had felt hope. One person knew the truth. One person almost spoke. Then the hope was crushed under Denise's voice. Maya lowered her eyes. "Please, Officer Grant. You saw me here yesterday. You know I did not steal this spot." Officer Grant swallowed. "I cannot help you." "You mean you will not?" Maya said quietly. The words were soft, but they landed hard. Denise stepped closer to the gate. "Careful, girl. Pride is expensive, and you're already broke." Maya hugged the bag tighter. Inside it, the hospital bill bent against the photograph. Caleb's name showed through the paper. 12 years old. Overdue payment. Needed medication. Maya saw the words and almost broke. She imagined Caleb waiting in their hot little apartment, trying to smile through fever, asking if she had sold enough today. She could not go home with nothing. Not again. The old woman looked from the bill to Maya's face. "Your brother is sick?" Maya nodded. "He has been coughing all week. The clinic said he needs the medicine tonight." Denise rolled her eyes. "Then maybe his sister should have followed rules." Maya looked at her. "I followed every rule poor people are allowed to know." The crowd went silent. Even Denise paused. "And if you're listening from anywhere in the world, tell me where you are watching from and who you believe right now. The girl with dust on her hands or the woman with power in her voice. Because sometimes truth looks weak before it stands up." Denise's smile vanished. "Throw her bag out too." One guard reached through the gate and grabbed Maya's torn bag. Maya pulled back in panic. "No, my papers are inside." The strap ripped. Papers spilled again. The hospital bill slid across the sidewalk. The old photograph turned over in the wind. On the back, faded blue ink appeared for 1 second. The old woman saw it. Her lips parted. Maya snatched the photo before Denise could step on it. But the old woman had already read enough to change her breathing. Denise pointed at Maya. "Leave now, or I will make sure no market in this city lets you sell again." Maya took one step back, then another. Her face was wet. Her hands were empty except for the photo and the broken bag. The old woman lifted the bruised orange as if it were evidence, not food. "Maya," she said, voice shaking. Maya stopped. Denise froze. Officer Grant looked up. The old woman stared at the back of the photograph and whispered, "Where did your mother get that picture?" "Where did your mother get that picture?" the old woman asked, and Maya Brooks carried the question with her all the way down the sidewalk. She did not answer. She could not. Denise Caldwell was still standing behind the market gate, smiling like she had won, while Maya walked away with dust on her knees, orange juice on her hands, and a torn photograph pressed against her chest. The ruined oranges stayed behind the gate. Her only chance stayed behind the gate. Caleb's medicine stayed farther away with every step. Maya passed parked cars with black windows and shining wheels. She saw women in clean dresses step out with shopping bags that cost more than her rent. She saw drivers open doors with white gloves. She saw a life where people did not count coins before buying bread. Then she looked down at herself. Faded yellow dress. Broken sneakers. $2 bake. $6. One hospital bill. One photograph that suddenly felt heavier than stone. Behind her, the old woman's voice seemed to follow. "Where did your mother get that picture?" Maya whispered to herself. "I do not know." A black luxury SUV sat near the curb, silent and still. A man inside watched Maya pass, but she did not look at him. She was too busy trying not to cry in public again. The walk home felt endless. The city kept moving like her pain meant nothing. A bus splashed dirty water near her feet. A man selling coffee looked at her empty hands and asked, "No oranges today?" Maya tried to smile. "Not today." Her voice almost disappeared. When she reached the old apartment building, the stairwell smelled like damp walls and old cooking oil. A red notice was taped to the door downstairs. "Final rent warning." Maya stopped. Her chest tightened. She touched the paper, but did not pull it down. She had no answer for rent. No answer for medicine. No Answer for Caleb. Upstairs, Caleb Brooks sat on the thin mattress near the window, wrapped in a blanket even though the room was hot. His face lit up when Maya opened the door. Then his eyes dropped to her empty bag. "Maya," he said softly, "where are the oranges?" Maya closed the door behind her. "I had a hard morning." Caleb tried to sit up straighter, but a cough bent him forward. Maya rushed to him and held his shoulder. "Do not move too fast." Caleb looked at the stains on her dress. They did it again. Maya shook her head. "I am fine." Caleb looked at her knees. "Fine people do not come home with dust on their knees." That sentence broke something in her. Maya turned away and reached for the small medicine bottle on the crate beside the mattress. It was empty. She tipped it once. Nothing came out. Caleb tried to smile. "Maybe I do not need it tonight." Maya looked at him. "Do not lie to make me feel better." He looked down. "Then do not lie to me either." The room went quiet. Outside, sirens cried far away. Inside, the ceiling fan clicked and clicked, but barely moved the heat. Maya pulled the hospital bill from her bag. The paper was bent now, stained from the pavement. Caleb's name stared up at her. Overdue payment. Medication needed. Follow-up required. Maya folded it quickly, but Caleb had already seen enough. "How much?" he asked. Maya forced a breath. "More than I have." "How much do you have?" $6. Caleb looked toward the window, so she would not see his fear. Maya sat beside him and took his hand. "I promised Mama I would take care of you." Caleb squeezed her fingers. "Mama also said you cannot carry the whole world on your back." Maya gave a broken laugh. She never met Denise Caldwell. Caleb's face darkened. "That woman from the market?" Maya nodded. "She called me trash in front of everyone." Caleb's eyes filled. "You are not trash." Maya smiled through tears. "I know," but her voice did not sound sure. She opened her torn bag and pulled out the old photograph. Mrs. Lillian Brooks smiled from the faded paper, young and gentle, standing beside another woman whose face was scratched by time. Maya turned the picture over. The blue ink was almost gone, but the words were still there. "Evelyn, I will never forget what you did for me." Caleb leaned closer. "Who is Evelyn?" Maya shook her head. "I do not know. Maybe Mama knew rich people." Maya looked around the room. The cracked wall, the empty bottle, the rent notice under the door, the pot on the stove with only plain rice inside. If Mama knew rich people, they forgot us. Caleb coughed again, longer this time. Maya held him until it passed. His body felt too warm, too light, too tired. Then he whispered, "Maybe that old woman knew Mama." Maya froze. "What old woman?" "The one from the market. You had that look when you came in." Maya touched the photograph. She asked where Mama got this picture. Caleb's eyes widened. "Then go ask her." Maya looked at the empty medicine bottle. "I cannot chase mysteries while you are sick." For one tiny moment, hope came from a place she did not expect. Maya remembered 3 coins hidden in an old biscuit tin under the mattress. She reached for it quickly and opened the lid. 3 coins. A bus card. Caleb's baby picture. 1 folded letter from their mother. Maya counted the coins. Still not enough. Not even close. She picked up the letter with trembling fingers. It was old, soft, and folded many times. She had read most of it before, but never with the old woman's question burning in her mind. Near the bottom was one line she had never understood. "If the woman with the white scarf ever finds you, listen before you run." Maya stared at it. Her breath caught. "White scarf," she whispered. Caleb sat up. "What?" Maya remembered the old beggar woman's stained scarf. It had looked gray from dirt, but near the edge, beneath the dust, there had been a small pale corner. Maybe white. Maybe not. Maybe fear was turning dirt into clues. Then a hard knock at the door. Maya jumped. Caleb grabbed her hand. "Is it the landlord?" The knock came again. 3 slow knocks. Maya hid the photograph and letter under the hospital bill. "Stay quiet." A calm male voice spoke from the hallway. Careful. Controlled. "Not Denise. Not a neighbor. Maya Brooks. I need to ask about Lillian Brooks." Maya's hand froze on the lock. "Maya Brooks. I need to ask about Lillian Brooks." The voice outside the apartment door made Maya's hand freeze on the lock. Caleb sat still on the thin mattress, his blanket pulled to his chest, his fever-bright eyes fixed on his sister. Maya pushed the old photograph and her mother's folded letter onto the hospital bill. "Who are you?" she asked through the door. A calm male voice answered from the hallway. "Marcus Whitmore." Maya did not know the name, but Mr. Reed did. The landlord had been standing by the stairs with his keys. The moment he heard it, his shoulders stiffened. Maya looked through the cracked peephole. A tall black man in a dark suit stood outside her door. Not loud, not smiling, not dressed like anyone who belonged in that broken hallway. Behind him, through the stairwell window, a black luxury SUV waited near the curb, shining against the dirty sidewalk. Maya stepped back. "I do not know you." Marcus kept his hands visible. "You helped an elderly woman at Caldwell Market this morning." Maya's chest tightened. "I gave her an orange, and she saw your photograph." Maya's fingers closed around the edge of the hospital bill. "Why does everyone want my mother's picture?" Caleb whispered. "Maya, do not open it." She raised one hand to quiet him, but her own fear was rising too. The apartment was too small for this kind of visit. One mattress, one cracked window, one empty medicine bottle, one pot plain rice, one rent warning under the door, one rich man asking questions about a dead woman. Marcus spoke again, softer. "Did your mother ever mention a woman named Evelyn?" Maya stopped breathing. The name was on the back of the photograph. The name was in the faded blue ink. The name no stranger should have known. "Why are you asking me that?" she said. Marcus paused. That pause felt careful, not empty, because that name matters to someone who has been searching for an answer. Maya almost laughed, but it came out broken. "Answers do not buy medicine." Caleb coughed behind her. The sound bent the whole room toward him. Marcus heard it. "Your brother is sick?" Maya's voice sharpened. "My brother is none of your business." "You are right," Marcus said. "I only asked because he sounds like he needs help." Maya opened the door only as far as the chain allowed. Every time powerful people say help, poor people lose something. Marcus did not argue. He looked through the narrow opening and saw her dusty knees, her torn dress, her shaking hands. Then he saw Caleb on the mattress, trying to look stronger than he was. His face changed, but he kept his voice steady. "I am not here to take anything." Maya's eyes burned. That is what people say before they take everything. Mr. Reed came up 2 steps behind Marcus, keys in hand. "Maya, rent is still due today." Maya closed her eyes. Of course. The rent, the medicine, the photograph, the man at the door. Everything arrived when she had nothing left to fight with. Marcus turned slightly toward Mr. Reed. "Can this wait?" Mr. Reed looked at Marcus's suit, then at the SUV outside. His voice became smaller. "It has waited already." Maya opened the door a little more, still held by the chain. "Do not speak for me," she said to Marcus. "He is right. I owe rent." Marcus looked back at her. "I was asking for time, not control." That sentence made her quiet. Rich people usually wanted control. Marcus only asked for time. For one tiny second, hope touched the room. Then Maya remembered Denise. Hope was dangerous. It made poor people lower their guard. Marcus looked at the hospital bill, partly covering the old photograph. "May I see the back of the picture?" Maya stepped back. "No, I will not touch it." "No," Caleb whispered. "Maybe he knows something." Maya turned to him. "And maybe he works with Denise." Marcus's face tightened at the name. "Denise Caldwell followed you after the market?" Maya froze. "What?" Marcus glanced toward the stairwell window. His phone buzzed once. He looked at the screen and read a short message from his driver. His eyes changed. "She asked the security guard where you lived." Maya's stomach dropped. Mr. Reed looked away too fast. Maya saw it. "You told her?" Mr. Reed shifted his keys. "She said there was a market complaint." Maya's voice broke. You gave her my address?" Silence. Caleb's eyes filled with fear. Marcus looked at Mr. Reed, then back at Maya. "This is why I came quickly." Maya held the photograph tighter beneath the hospital bill. "I did nothing wrong." Marcus nodded. "Then do not let anyone make you sign that you did." The words landed hard. "Sign what?" Maya asked. Marcus did not answer fast enough. That silence scared her more than the question. His phone buzzed again. This time, he turned the screen only slightly, not showing the room. A still image from the market camera appeared. It showed Denise near the manager's office door earlier that morning, before the footage gap. It was not proof. Not enough. just a crack in her story. Marcus slipped the phone away. The market video has a missing section. Maya whispered, the part where she touched my bag? Marcus nodded once. For one tiny moment, Maya felt the truth breathe. Then hard heels sounded at the bottom of the stairs. Slow, sharp, familiar. Mr. Reed went pale. Caleb grabbed Maya's hand. Marcus turned toward the stairwell. Denise Caldwell's voice rose from below, cold and clear. Maya Brooks lives here. Maya's blood ran cold. Marcus stepped away from the door, not to rescue her, but to see the truth arrive with its own shoes. Denise's heels began climbing toward them. Denise Caldwell's heels climbed the stairs like trouble, counting its steps. Maya Brooks stood frozen behind the chained door, one hand on the hospital bill, the other hiding the old photograph under the paper. Caleb gripped her wrist from the mattress. Marcus Whitmore turned toward the stairwell, calm but alert. Mr. Reed stepped back as if he suddenly wanted to disappear. Denise appeared at the landing in a cream jacket, polished shoes, and a smile that did not belong in that poor hallway. She looked at Marcus first, then Maya, then the small apartment behind the half-open door. Well, she said, now I see why the little orange seller ran home so fast. Maya's voice shook. Why are you here? Denise lifted a folded document. To protect my market from fraud. Caleb coughed hard. Maya turned toward him, but Denise stepped closer to the door. Do not act innocent. You caused a public scene. You involve an old beggar. You try to pull a wealthy family into your little story. Marcus spoke quietly. Miss Caldwell, be careful. Denise looked at him and smiled wider. No, Mr. Whitmore. You should be careful. Poor girls with sad eyes know how to make powerful men feel responsible. Maya flinched like the words had slapped her. She opened the door a little wider, still held by the chain. I never asked him for anything. Denise leaned in. You asked the whole market to pity you. The neighbors had started opening doors. One woman peeked from behind a curtain. A man stood at the top step with his phone in his hand. Maya saw them watching again, and the shame from the market came back into her chest. Dust, oranges, laughter. Denise had brought the crowd to her home. Maya looked at him. Resolve how? Denise pushed the folded document through the opening in the chain. Sign this statement. Maya did not take it. What does it say? Denise's eyes cooled. It says you admit there was confusion at the market. It says you withdraw any accusation against me or Caldwell Market. It says you will not use the Whitmore name, that old woman, or your mother's photograph to create trouble. Maya's hand went cold over the hidden picture. Marcus looked at the paper. Do not sign anything. Denise snapped her head toward him. This is not your apartment. This is not your market complaint. And this is not your family. Caleb whispered, Maya, do not. Denise heard him and smiled. Sweet boy. Still sick, still coughing, still depending on a sister who keeps making enemies. Maya stepped in front of Caleb. Leave him out of this. Denise lowered her voice. Then stop making him suffer for your pride. The hallway went quiet. That was the cruelest thing Denise had said, because it touched the wound Maya carried every day. Medicine, rent, food. Caleb's breathing. Maya's eyes filled, but she did not cry. My pride is not the reason he is sick. Denise moved closer to the chain. No, but your stubbornness can make his life worse. Marcus's jaw tightened. That sounds like a threat. Denise turned to him. It is a warning. Mr. Reed shifted his keys again. I cannot have police complaints tied to my building. Maya looked at him, betrayed. You know I sell oranges to pay you. He lowered his eyes. I know you were late. Denise pushed the statement harder through the gap. Sign, Maya. Then maybe I forget the theft accusation. Maybe Mr. Reed gives you one more day. Maybe your brother sleeps without officers knocking. Caleb's breathing quickened. Maya reached for the paper with trembling fingers. Marcus said, Maya. She froze. Denise smiled. See? This is how rich men work. They tell poor people to be brave, then leave when the rent comes. Maya looked at Marcus. For the first time, doubt entered her face. Marcus saw it and did not move too fast. I will not tell you what to do, he said, but I will tell you what she is doing. She is trying to make you trade the truth for one night of fear. Denise laughed. Truth? What truth? A hungry girl gives one orange to a dirty old woman, and now she thinks heaven owes her a mansion. Maya's voice came out small. I gave her food because she was hungry. Denise leaned in. And you kept her attention because she looked rich enough to matter. Maya's face broke. Caleb tried to stand, but his knees failed. Maya rushed to him. In that moment, the hospital bill slipped from the table and fell to the floor. The old photograph slid out from beneath it. Denise saw it before Maya did. Her eyes sharpened. She bent quickly and snatched the photograph from the floor. Give that back, Maya cried. Marcus stepped forward. Miss Caldwell. Denise looked at the image, then turned it over. Her smile faded when she saw the faded writing on the back. Evelyn, I will never forget what you did for me. Her fingers tightened around the picture. Where did you get this? Maya reached for it. It was my mother's. Denise pulled it away. Your mother's lies, maybe, Caleb shouted weakly. Do not touch Mama's picture. Marcus moved one step closer. Denise backed toward the stairs, still holding the photograph. Then another piece of paper slipped from between the old photo and its cracked cover. A folded letter dropped near Denise's shoe. She looked down and saw the faded initials on the outside. Evu. Her face changed, only for a second, but Marcus saw it. Maya tried to reach the letter first, but Denise bent quickly and picked it up before anyone else could touch it. That belongs to my mother, Maya said, her voice breaking. Denise held the photograph in one hand and the folded letter in the other, as if both pieces of paper had suddenly become dangerous. Your mother kept many things she should not have kept, Denise said. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Miss Caldwell, return the letter. Denise took one more step back. No, this is evidence in my complaint. Caleb's voice came small and scared. Please, that was Mama's. Maya reached through the doorway, trembling. Do not destroy the only thing she left us. Denise looked at the faded initials again. Evu. Her thumb pressed against the fold, too close to tearing it. The hallway became so quiet that even Caleb's breathing sounded loud. Marcus lifted his eyes to Denise, his voice low and sharp. Miss Caldwell, he said, why are you holding a letter marked EW? Miss Caldwell, Marcus Whitmore said, his voice low and sharp. Why are you holding a letter marked E? Vu. The hallway went silent. Denise Caldwell stood near the stairs with the old photograph in one hand and the folded letter in the other. For the first time since morning, her smile looked unsure. Maya Brooks stood behind the chain door, her face wet, her hands shaking, Caleb coughing behind her on the thin mattress. Mr. Reed stopped moving his keys. The neighbors stopped whispering. Even the phones in the hallway lowered a little. Denise lifted her chin. This girl was hiding stolen papers, she said. I was only protecting my market. Maya's voice broke. That letter was my mother's. Marcus looked at Maya, then back at Denise. Your mother was Lillian Brooks? Maya nodded slowly. Yes. Something passed across his face. Not proof yet. Not victory. Just a shadow deep enough for Denise to notice. She recovered fast. You see, Denise said loudly. She knows exactly which names to use in front of wealthy people. Caleb sat up weakly. She is not lying. Denise snapped. No one asked you. Maya stepped in front of him. Do not speak to my brother like that. Marcus raised one calm hand. Miss Caldwell, open the letter. Denise laughed, but the laugh sounded thin. You have no right. Marcus looked at the paper in her hand. Then why are you holding it like it can hurt you? The hallway went still again. Denise looked at the neighbors. She looked at Mr. Reed. She looked at Maya. Then, with stiff fingers, she unfolded the old paper just enough for the faded writing to show. Near the bottom were two initials in blue ink. EW. Below them was a torn corner, soft with age, as if it had once belonged to something else. Maya stared at it, confused and trembling. What does that mean? Marcus did not answer quickly. His eyes moved to the photograph, still trapped in Denise's other hand. Turn the photograph over, he said. Denise pulled it closer. No, Marcus's voice stayed calm. You already turned it over before everyone saw you react. Denise froze. Maya whispered, Give me my mother's picture. Denise's fingers tightened. For one terrible second, Maya thought she might bend it. Caleb's small voice came from the mattress. Please. That is Mama. Something in the boy's voice made the hallway soften. Even Mr. Reed looked away. Denise threw the photograph toward Maya, not gently. Maya caught it against her chest before it could fall. Marcus did not move. Turn it over, Maya. Maya hesitated. Gentle voices did not feel safe anymore. She had been mocked, dragged, threatened, and nearly forced to sign away her own truth. Caleb whispered, Maya, maybe this matters. Slowly, Maya turned the photograph over. The same faded blue ink appeared on the back. Evelyn, I will never forget what you did for me. The torn corner of the photograph matched the torn corner of the letter like two broken pieces of one old promise. No one spoke. The neighbors stopped recording. Mr. Reed lowered his keys. Even Denise forgot to breathe for 1 second. Marcus leaned closer, careful not to touch the photograph. This was not random, he said. Maya swallowed. Then what was it? He looked at the initials again. The first piece of a story someone tried to separate. Denise folded the letter quickly. Old paper proves nothing. Maya's eyes filled. It proves my mother mattered to someone. Denise turned on her. Your mother is not here to defend that little fantasy. Marcus stepped between them. Not a rescue. Not a victory. Just one quiet wall between cruelty and a tired girl. Enough, he said. Denise froze. The hallway felt smaller. Maya felt Caleb's cough behind her. She felt the rent warning near her foot. She felt how close hope was and how easily it could still be taken. And if you're listening right now, tell me what you think this clue means. Why would a poor woman's photograph and an old letter both carry the initials EW? And why does Denise Caldwell look more afraid of paper than she ever looked of the truth? Denise heard the silence shift against her, and she fought to take it back. This is a performance, she said. A sick boy, a dead mother, a fake letter, and now a rich man feeling sorry for them. Marcus held out his hand. The letter must be preserved. Denise pulled it back. It is evidence in my complaint. Marcus's voice stayed quiet. Then preserve it properly. Denise's thumb pressed against the fold again. Maya stepped forward as far as the chain allowed. Do not tear it. Please. That is all I have left from her. The plea was so small that it hurt more than shouting. Marcus took a clear folder from his aide and opened it. Place it inside. Denise glared at him. You are making a mistake. Marcus looked at her. Then let the paper prove me wrong. Denise had no crowd left to impress. The neighbors were watching differently now. Slowly, she placed the letter inside the clear folder. Marcus sealed it. A tiny hope entered Maya's chest. Not enough to breathe freely. Just enough not to fall. Then Denise smiled again, sharp and dangerous. Fine, keep your old paper. It will not pay her rent. It will not buy his medicine. It will not erase the report I filed. The hope cracked. Mr. Reed lifted his keys again. She still owes rent. Caleb coughed so hard Maya rushed to his side. Denise used the sound like another weapon. You see, every time truth gets close, the tears begin. Maya held Caleb's shoulders and looked at Marcus. Please, I do not know what this letter means. I only know my brother is sick. Marcus looked at the empty medicine bottle, then at the photograph, then at the sealed letter. His face was controlled, but his eyes were not calm anymore. His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. A message from his technician showed one restored still from the market footage. Denise in the manager's office that morning, standing beside the security console before Maya, was accused. Marcus did not show the hallway. He turned the phone only slightly. Denise saw enough. Her face lost color. Where did you get that? She whispered. Marcus looked at her. That is the wrong question. He slipped the phone away and turned back to Maya. The letter and photograph are safe for now, but there is still one missing piece. Maya clutched Caleb's blanket. What piece? Before Marcus could answer, Caleb reached under his pillow with a shaking hand and pulled out a tiny folded paper Maya had never seen before. Mama left me something too, he whispered. Denise stepped back toward the stairs. Marcus went still. Caleb opened the paper just enough for one faded line to show. If Maya ever meets the woman with a white scarf, do not let her walk away. If Maya ever meets the woman with the white scarf, do not let her walk away. Caleb's voice shook as he read the faded line from the tiny folded paper. Maya Brooks stared at him like the room had tilted under her feet. Marcus Whitmore stood still near the doorway, the sealed letter marked E.W. in his hand. Denise Caldwell stopped halfway down the stairs, her polished shoe frozen above the next step. Mr. Reed's keys no longer moved. Even the neighbors stopped breathing loudly. Maya reached for the paper, but her hand trembled too much to take it. "Where did you get that?" Caleb looked down, ashamed. "Mama hid it inside my old Bible. She told me not to open it unless something happened to you." Maya's face broke. "Something has been happening to us for years." Caleb swallowed. "I know." Denise laughed from the stairs, but it was weak. A sick boy with a secret note. How convenient. Maya turned toward her, eyes wet and sharp. "Do not speak about my brother." Denise lifted her chin. "Then stop using him as part of your act." Marcus stepped between Denise and the apartment door. His voice was low. "Miss Caldwell, leave." Denise looked at him. "You do not command this building." Marcus glanced at Mr. Reed. "No, but I can ask why a market manager is standing inside a tenant hallway pressuring a sick child's family to sign a statement." Mr. Reed looked down. Denise's mouth tightened. "This family has brought trouble everywhere today." Maya whispered, "You brought it here?" That quiet sentence hit harder than shouting. Denise looked away for 1 second, then recovered. "Fina, keep your paper. Keep your sad little mystery. Rent is still due. Medicine still costs money. And old handwriting will not save either of them." Caleb coughed hard. Maya rushed to him, one hand behind his back, one hand on his chest. His breath came rough and thin. The tiny paper slipped from his fingers onto the mattress. For one terrible moment, all the mystery in the world meant nothing. Not Evelyn. Not E.W. Not the photograph. Only Caleb struggling for air in a room too poor for peace. Marcus saw the empty medicine bottle on the crate. He saw the hospital bill under Maya's elbow. He saw the way she hid fear behind anger because fear was all she had left. "He needs medicine tonight," Marcus said. Maya shook her head fast. "Do not take him anywhere." Marcus raised both hands slowly. "No one is taking him from you." Maya looked at him like she wanted to believe that, but believing rich people had never kept her safe. "Then what do you want?" Marcus's voice softened. "One night." Maya blinked. "What?" "One night without threats. One night for Caleb to breathe. One night for this letter and this note to be protected." Denise scoffed. "Listen to him. One night becomes one favor. One favor becomes ownership." Marcus did not look at Denise. He kept his eyes on Maya. "You do not owe me trust. You do not owe me gratitude. You do not owe me your story. But you and Caleb deserve time." Maya's lips trembled. No one had spoken to her like that all day. At the market, she was dirt. In the hallway, she was trouble. In Denise's mouth, she was a thief. But Marcus had said deserve. Caleb reached for Maya's sleeve. "Maya, I am tired." That broke her. She sat beside him and held his hand. "I know, baby." Marcus turned to Mr. Reed. "The rent issue waits until tomorrow." Mr. Reed started to protest. Marcus looked at him, calm and cold. "Tomorrow." Mr. Reed swallowed. "Tomorrow." Denise stepped down one stair. "So the billionaire buys silence." Marcus finally turned to her. "No, silence is what you came here to buy." The hallway went still again. One neighbor lowered his phone. Another woman covered her mouth. Denise's face hardened. "You will regret defending her." Marcus answered, "I would regret ignoring her." Maya looked up. A tiny hope entered the room, small as a match in the dark. It did not fix the rent. It did not heal Caleb. It did not explain why her mother's name was tied to Evelyn. But it gave her one breath without Denise standing on her neck. Marcus's aide came up the stairs with a small, clear envelope and fresh gloves. Marcus placed the sealed E.W. letter inside it, then pointed to Caleb's folded note. "May I protect that too?" Maya looked at Caleb. Caleb nodded weakly. Maya picked up the note and held it for one more second. "This is my mother's voice," she said. Marcus nodded. "Then it should be treated like something alive." Maya placed the note into the envelope herself. Denise watched from the stairs, eyes narrow. "Touching," she said. "But if that old beggar woman mattered so much, where is she now?" Maya looked at the floor. That question hurt because she had asked it inside her own heart. Evelyn had disappeared after the market. She had whispered Lillian's name, then vanished into a world Maya could not enter. Marcus saw the pain cross Maya's face. Sometimes people disappear because they are afraid of what they will remember, he said. Maya looked at him. What does that mean? Marcus did not answer fast enough. Caleb whispered, maybe Mama knew the woman would remember something. Maya turned back to him. Remember what? Caleb pointed weakly to the folded note now inside the clear envelope. There is more writing, under the crease. Marcus lifted the envelope toward the lamp. The paper was thin. The first line showed through. Beneath it, hidden by the old fold, another faded sentence appeared. Maya leaned closer. Marcus read it quietly, and his voice changed. She will remember the rain. She will remember the blood on her dress. She will remember the promise. Maya's eyes filled with fear and hope at the same time. What promise? Marcus looked at the old photograph, then at the letter marked EW. His answer came slowly. The one your mother never lived long enough to hear fulfilled. The one your mother never lived long enough to hear fulfilled. Marcus Whitmore's answer made Maya Brooks forget how to breathe. The apartment went silent. Caleb lay on the thin mattress with his fever-bright eyes fixed on the clear envelope that held his mother's folded note. Denise Caldwell stood near the stairs, stiff and watchful, no longer smiling with the same confidence. Mr. Reed held his keys but did not shake them. The neighbors in the hallway leaned closer without speaking. Maya looked from Marcus to the old photograph, then to the sealed letter marked W. What promise? She asked. Her voice was small. Marcus did not rush. The promise belongs to the woman with the white scarf, he said. Maya's eyes filled. The beggar woman. Marcus looked at the photograph on the table. The woman you fed, Caleb whispered. The woman Mama warned us not to let walk away. Maya touched the edge of the photograph. Her mother, Lillian Brooks, smiled from faded paper beside a younger woman whose face had been damaged by time. Around that woman's shoulders was a pale scarf. Not bright white anymore, stained by rain, age, and memory. Marcus took out his phone and opened the enlarged scan of the picture. The image is damaged, he said, but this part is clear. He pointed near the scarf without touching the photograph. Then, a roadside, a woman in distress, and Lillian Brooks standing beside her. Maya shook her head slowly. Mama never told me this. Denise gave a thin laugh. Because maybe there was nothing to tell. Maya turned toward her. My mother is not your insult. Marcus stepped between them before Denise could answer. Miss Caldwell, one more word about Lillian Brooks, and you leave. Denise lifted her chin. You still have no full proof. Marcus looked at her. No, but every time her mother's name is spoken, you become less calm. Denise looked away. That tiny movement said more than her mouth ever could. Marcus faced Maya again. Years ago, during a storm, a woman collapsed near a closed road outside Atlanta. People passed her. Cars slowed, then kept moving. Some thought she was drunk. Some thought she was trouble. Some thought she was too poor to matter. Maya's lips parted. Who stopped? Marcus looked at Lillian's faded face. Your mother. Caleb stopped moving. Maya pressed one hand over her mouth. Marcus continued, slow and careful. Lillian Brooks had almost nothing that day, but she used her own scarf to keep that woman warm. She stayed in the rain. She called for help. She waited until the woman was safe. Maya looked at the photograph again, and her mother's faded smile suddenly felt alive. Mama saved her. Marcus nodded. Yes. Maya's tears fell silently. She died thinking nobody remembered her. The words hurt the whole room. Even a neighbor lowered her head. Marcus did not pretend comfort came easy. Some people do good and never turn into a story, he said. Caleb whispered, Mama was like that. Maya smiled through tears, then broke again. Then why do we stay poor? If that woman remembered, why did no one come? Marcus looked at the sealed letter. That is the wound. Denise snapped. Or maybe there was no promise at all. Maya faced her with wet eyes. Then why do you keep trying to bury it? Denise stepped forward. Because I know what girls like you do when rich people feel guilty. Maya stood still. Her voice dropped. I did not ask for guilt. I asked to sell oranges. The hallway fell quiet. That sentence carried the whole morning with it. Dust, fruit, laughter, the gate, the orange in the beggar woman's hand. Marcus carefully lifted the clear folder and read the faded line on the letter. Evelyn, I will never forget what you did for me. She will remember the rain. She will remember the promise. Maya looked at him. Evelyn. Marcus's voice softened. That name is not a coincidence. Caleb coughed, and the sound broke the tiny hope in the room. Maya rushed to him, one hand on his shoulder, one hand against his back. The empty medicine bottle sat beside the mattress like another accusation. Marcus reached for his phone. He needs treatment tonight. Maya shook her head fast. No one takes him from me. Marcus stepped back, palms open. No one will. You decide. You stay with him. You hold every paper. Nothing moves without your permission. Maya stared at him, scared by kindness that did not push. Denise saw the softness and moved like poison. Listen to him, Maya. Today he offers help. Tomorrow he takes your story, your mother's name, and your brother into rooms where you do not belong. Maya froze. The old fear returned. Marcus did not attack Denise. He only looked at Maya. She wants you afraid because fear makes people easier to control. Caleb reached for Maya's hand. Mama said not to let the woman walk away. Maya looked at the note again. The white scarf, the storm, the promise. The poor woman who saved someone and asked for nothing. Her mother had carried that secret while raising 2 children with empty pockets and tired hands. Maya's voice shook. If Evelyn is alive, why is she hiding? Marcus looked toward the window, where the street below glowed with the last light of evening. Maybe she is not hiding from you, he said. Maybe she is hiding from what she remembers. Denise rolled her eyes. Beautiful words. Still no proof. Then Marcus's aide stepped into the doorway with her phone in both hands. Marcus, she said, voice tight. The photo scan found one more word under the damaged corner. Denise's face changed. Real fear. Marcus turned slowly. Maya stood, still holding Caleb's hand. What word? The aide looked at the screen, then at the old photograph on the table. Whitmore. Whitmore. The hidden name on the old photograph stayed in the apartment like smoke. Maya Brooks stared at the damaged corner, her fingers tight around the picture of her mother. Marcus Whitmore looked at the scan on his aide's phone, then at the letter marked EW, then at Denise Caldwell. Denise did not move for 1 second. 1 second was enough. Her face forgot how to lie. Then she smiled. A rich name on a damaged photo does not make a poor girl family, she said. Maya flinched, but she did not lower her head. I never asked to be family. Denise stepped closer. No, you just waited for someone rich to feel sorry for you. Caleb coughed from the mattress. Leave her alone. Denise turned toward him. That child has learned the act too. Maya moved in front of Caleb. Do not speak to him. Marcus's voice cut through the room. Miss Caldwell, this conversation is over. Denise looked at him with cold eyes. No, Mr. Whitmore. This conversation is finally public. She turned toward the neighbors in the hallway and raised her voice. Everyone should hear this. Maya Brooks has been using a sick boy, a dead mother, and a damaged photograph to attach herself to the Whitmore name. Maya went cold. That is not true. Denise pointed at the sealed folder in Marcus's hand. Then why are the papers hidden? Why did her brother go to the clinic? Why does she keep old letters ready like bait? The whispers started again. One phone lifted. Another door opened. Mr. Reed stood behind Denise, silent, choosing fear over fairness. Maya felt the shame return. The market had followed her home. The crowd had followed her home. Denise had turned her pain into a trial again. Marcus watched Denise carefully, but he still did not have the last piece. He had the photo. He had the letter. He had the name, but not enough for the whole truth. Denise saw that gap and stepped into it. At noon, she said, Caldwell Market, public office. Maya will sign a statement in front of staff and witnesses. Maya's eyes widened. What statement? Denise pulled out the folded paper. You admit you caused disorder. You admit you misunderstood everything. You agree not to speak about me, the market, or the Whitmore family again. Caleb struggled to sit up. She should not sign that. Denise looked at him. Then maybe your landlord should hear how much trouble your family brings. Mr. Reed lowered his eyes. Maya's face broke. Why are you doing this? Denise leaned close. Because girls like you must learn where the ground is. Marcus stepped forward. Maya does not go anywhere alone. Denise smiled. Bring your suit. Bring your folder. Bring your doubt. But without final proof, all you have is pity. Those words hurt because they were almost true. Maya looked at Marcus. He did not deny it. His silence felt like another door closing. Denise reached toward Caleb's note. Maya pulled it away fast and held it to her chest. Denise saw the movement. Her eyes narrowed. Careful, Maya. People who hide things look guilty. Maya whispered, people who steal truth look worse. For one tiny second, the hallway went quiet. A neighbor in a blue robe looked at Denise differently. Tiny hope. Then Denise clapped once, sharp and cruel. Noon. Or, I filed a fraud complaint today. Noon came too quickly. Caldwell Market was bright, crowded, and cruel. Vendors stood behind their stalls, pretending not to stare. Customers slowed, with shopping bags in their hands. Security guards blocked the public office door. The same courtyard where Maya's oranges had rolled in dust now held a table, 2 chairs, microphones, white banners, and a stack of papers. Denise had turned the charity setup into a courtroom of shame. Maya arrived with Marcus beside her, but not in front of her. She kept the photograph hidden close to her heart. Caleb stayed back at the apartment with Marcus's aide, still sick, still afraid, still holding their mother's note like a prayer. Denise stood at the table in a navy dress now, polished and ready for the crowd. There she is, she announced. The girl who wants everyone to believe poverty means innocence. Phones rose again. Maya's hands shook. Marcus leaned slightly toward her. Do not sign until you read every word. Denise laughed. How kind. The billionaire teaches the orange seller how to read. Maya looked up, hurt but steady. I can read. I read hospital bills every week. The courtyard quieted. Denise's smile tightened. She pushed the paper forward. Then read this and sign it. Maya looked down. Disorder. False claim. Suspected theft. Public apology. Her name sat inside the lie like a bird inside a cage. I cannot sign this, she said. Denise leaned closer. Then I call the clinic, the landlord, and every market manager in this district. Maya's breath shook. You would punish Caleb for something I did not do. Denise's voice dropped. I will punish whatever makes you obey. Marcus heard it. His eyes sharpened. But Denise quickly raised her voice for the crowd. She refuses because guilty people hate written truth. A vendor opened his mouth like he wanted to speak. Denise looked at him. He looked down. Tiny hope died again. Maya picked up the pen. Not because she believed the lie. Because Caleb needed a room. Caleb needed medicine. Caleb needed peace. Marcus looked at her hand. Maya, she whispered. I cannot let her ruin him. Denise smiled like victory had finally reached her table. Sign. Maya's pen touched the paper. Then Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked down. A message from his aide showed Caleb's folded note opened wider. But the hidden line was still partly covered by age and dust. Not enough to reveal the truth. Enough to prove there was more. Marcus lifted his eyes toward the charity stage. A technician near the large screen looked back and gave a small nod. Denise did not see it. She was too busy watching Maya's hand. Go on, Denise whispered. End this. Maya's pen began to move. Then the large screen above the charity stage flickered once. The crowd turned. Denise smiled, thinking her event was beginning. Marcus closed his hand around his phone and said quietly, Not yet, Maya. The screen went black. Then one frozen image appeared. The market office door, Denise's hand on the security console, and a timestamp from the morning Maya was accused. The large screen above the charity stage showed one frozen image, Denise Caldwell's hand on the security console, the market office door behind her, and a timestamp from the morning Maya Brooks was accused. For 1 second, the whole courtyard forgot how to breathe. Maya's pen stopped on the paper before her name could become part of a lie. Denise stared at the screen, and the color drained from her face. Then she forced a laugh. Technical error, she said quickly. Turn that off. The technician did not move. Marcus Whitmore stood beside Maya, calm as stone. Leave it on. Denise turned on him. This is my event. Marcus looked at the white charity banners behind her. No, this event is funded by the Whitmore Foundation. The crowd shifted. Vendors leaned out from behind their stalls. Donors whispered under the tents. Security guards looked at one another, unsure whose orders mattered now. Denise pointed at the screen. That image proves nothing. Marcus nodded once. Correct. It proves there's more to see. Maya's hand shook around the pen. She looked down at the false statement. Disorder. Apology. Theft suspicion. Silence. Her name had almost in her cage. She pulled the pen away. Denise saw it and snapped, "Sign it, Maya." Marcus stepped closer to the table. She will not sign under pressure. Denise's smile turned sharp. Pressure? I gave her a chance to end this quietly. Maya looked up, tears bright in her eyes. Quietly is how people like me disappear. The courtyard went still. One vendor lowered his phone. A woman who had laughed earlier covered her mouth. Denise heard the silence, changing, and tried to grab it back. Ladies and gentlemen, this girl is confused. She has been chasing a rich name with an old photograph, a sick brother, and a story about a beggar woman. Marcus placed the sealed folder on the table. Inside were the letter marked EW, the old photograph, Caleb's note, and the protected copy of the Morning Still. Then let the truth answer, he said. Denise stepped toward the folder. You have no right to bring private papers into a public market. Marcus moved the folder out of her reach. You had no right to take them from her home. A murmur moved through the crowd like wind before rain. At that moment, a clinic nurse entered from the side of the courtyard, holding a small envelope. She looked nervous, but she did not stop. Mr. Whitmore, she said, this is the verified clinic time record for Caleb Brooks. Maya turned fast. Caleb. The nurse nodded gently. He was seen this morning. He was alone. He was holding a folded note and asking for cheaper medicine. Maya pressed one hand to her mouth. Denise rolled her eyes. A sick child again. Always the same performance. The nurse looked at Denise, and for the first time, her voice became firm. No, ma'am. A sick child is not a performance. The crowd reacted softly. Not applause. Shame. A heavy, public shame. Marcus took the envelope, but did not open everything yet. This record will be shown only as needed, he said. Maya's pain is not entertainment. Then he looked toward the camera phones in the crowd. And if you're watching the story right now, remember this moment. Would you have believed the poor girl? Or would you have believed the person with the badge, the office, and the polished shoes? Tell me honestly, because this is where many people fail the test. Denise's jaw tightened. Are we finished? Marcus looked at the technician. Not yet. The screen flickered again. A black loading bar appeared beneath the frozen image. Restored file preparing. Denise stepped back. Stop this now. The technician looked at Marcus, not Denise. Marcus gave a small nod. Maya felt the old photograph beneath her palm. The letter marked E.W. rested inside the folder. Caleb's hidden note waited beside it, the words about the woman with the white scarf still burning in her mind. Then the market gate opened. The sound was small, but everyone turned. An elderly black woman walked slowly into the courtyard with a cane in one hand and a stained pale scarf around her shoulders. In her other hand, she held a bruised orange. Maya stood up so fast the chair scraped the ground. Evelyn, she whispered. Denise looked like she had seen the ground split open. The old woman did not look poor anymore, even in the same worn clothes. She looked tired. She looked wounded. But she also looked powerful in a way no badge could copy. Marcus walked to her side. Mother, he said softly. The word hit the crowd like thunder. Maya's lips parted. The beggar woman was Marcus Whitmore's mother. Evelyn Whitmore looked at Maya first, not Denise. Her eyes filled. Child, you fed me when everyone else stepped over me. Denise whispered, this is impossible. Evelyn turned toward her. No, Denise. What is impossible is thinking cruelty can stay hidden forever. The screen behind them went black. Marcus faced the crowd and lifted one hand. Before anyone judges Maya Brooks again, watch what really happened. The first frame of the restored footage appeared. The screen went black, and the first frame of the restored footage appeared. The whole courtyard stopped breathing. Maya Brooks stood beside the table with the unsigned statement in front of her, her fingers cold, her eyes fixed on the screen. Denise Caldwell took one quick step forward. "Turn it off," she said. Her voice was no longer proud. It was afraid. Marcus Whitmore did not look away from the screen. "Let play." The footage showed the morning market. Maya was on her knees, gathering oranges from the dusty pavement. Denise stood over her in a cream suit, one heel beside the hospital bill. Then Denise's recorded voice came through the speakers. "Poor people always have a sad story ready." The crowd went silent. Phones slowly lowered. Vendors looked at the ground. Maya closed her eyes as the shame returned, but this time no one laughed. This time, the shame moved toward Denise. The footage continued. It showed Denise knocking Maya's bag from her hand. It showed the papers falling. It showed the old photograph sliding across the ground. Then it showed the elderly woman at the gate, weak, hungry, and ignored. Denise's voice came again. "Get away from here. You smell like the alley." A rich guest covered her mouth. A vendor whispered. She said the girl caused trouble. Denise snapped. "That video is edited." Marcus turned to the technician. The technician lifted the microphone with shaking hands. "This is the restored original file. Timestamp verified." Silence fell harder. Then the screen showed Maya picking up the cleanest orange, wiping it on her dress, and giving it to the old woman. Maya's small voice came through the speakers. "She is hungry." Evelyn Whitmore stood at the front of the crowd, holding that same bruised orange. Her eyes filled with tears. Denise tried to speak again. "A single orange proves nothing." Marcus opened the sealed folder and placed the old letter marked E.W. on the table. Then we moved to the second proof. He placed Maya's photograph beside it. The torn corner matched the letter. The same faded blue ink ran across both pieces. "Evelyn, I will never forget what you did for me." Maya trembled. She still did not speak. She did not have to. The evidence was speaking for her. Marcus looked at the crowd. This letter belonged to Lillian Grace Brooks. This photograph belonged to Maya's mother. And both connect Lillian Brooks to Evelyn Whitmore years before today. The name hit the courtyard like thunder. Evelyn Whitmore. Not a beggar. Not nobody. Not trash at the gate. The woman whose foundation funded the charity event. The woman Denise had mocked when she thought she was powerless. Denise stepped back. "Mrs. Whitmore, I did not know it was you." Evelyn looked at her with quiet pain. "That is exactly why this matters. You showed your heart when you thought I had no name." The courtyard went completely still. Maya's lips trembled. Evelyn turned to her. "Your mother once helped me on a rainy morning when I had fallen sick, and no one stopped. She gave me her scarf. She stayed until help came. I promised I would never forget her." Maya whispered, "My mother saved you?" Evelyn nodded, tears falling now. "Yes. And today, her daughter gave me dignity when everyone else gave me shame." Denise shook her head quickly. "I only removed an illegal vendor. I never called her a thief." Marcus looked at the technician. "Play the final clip." The speakers crackled. Denise's voice filled the market from the apartment hallway. "Sign, and maybe I will forget the theft accusation." The crowd gasped. Maya covered her mouth. Denise had no smile left. Marcus stayed calm. "You knew she was not a thief. You used that word to frighten her into silence." Denise looked around, searching for someone to believe her. No one moved. No one smiled. No one laughed. Evelyn lifted the bruised orange and faced the woman who had humiliated Maya twice. Her voice was soft, but it carried across the courtyard. "Denise Caldwell, before this crowd and before the girl you tried to destroy, will you still call Maya Brooks a thief?" "Denise Caldwell, before this crowd and before the girl you tried to destroy, will you still call Maya Brooks a thief?" Evelyn Whitmore's question held the whole courtyard still. Denise stood in front of the charity stage with every face turned toward her. Vendors, customers, security guards, rich donors, clinic staff, people who had laughed when Maya's oranges rolled in the dust, people who had watched and done nothing. Now, they watched Denise, and Denise had nowhere to hide. She opened her mouth, but no answer came. Marcus Whitmore stepped beside Evelyn with the sealed folder in his hand. "Answer her," he said. Denise lifted her chin, fighting for the last piece of power left in her voice. "I made a decision based on market safety." A low murmur moved through the crowd. Evelyn looked at the bruised orange in her hand. That was not an answer. Denise's face tightened. She was selling without proper authority. A vendor near the front stepped forward, his hand shaking. She paid for that spot yesterday. Denise turned toward him. Be careful. The vendor swallowed, but this time he did not step back. No, I was careful this morning. Too careful. I stayed silent while you humiliated her. Maya's eyes filled. She did not speak. She only held the old photograph near her heart and watched one small truth finally stand up. Officer Grant stepped forward next. His face was heavy with shame. I should have checked her receipt before I helped remove her. Denise snapped. Officer, do not embarrass yourself. He looked at Maya. I already did. The courtyard went silent again. Marcus placed 3 things on the table for everyone to see. The old letter marked EW. The faded photograph of Lillian Brooks. The clinic still of Caleb holding his mother's note. These will be preserved, he said. No one will take them from Maya again. Denise tried to laugh. Old paper and pity. That is all this is. Marcus looked at her. No, it is proof that you built power on silence. Evelyn turned to the crowd. This is not revenge. This is correction. Then she faced Denise. You insulted a hungry woman because you thought she was nobody. You called a poor girl a thief because you thought no one would defend her. You used a sick child to force silence. Denise's lips trembled. I did not know who you were. Evelyn's voice broke, but stayed strong. And that is your confession. Public silence fell so deep that even the stage speakers hummed like a warning. Denise looked at Marcus. Please, this will ruin me. Marcus answered quietly. Your choices have already done that. He turned toward the event staff. Miss Caldwell is removed from all Whitmore Foundation vendor programs immediately. Her management authority at this event is suspended pending formal review. Preserve the camera files, the false complaint, the witness statements, and the signed vendor records. Denise stared at him. You cannot do this in front of everyone. Marcus looked at Maya, then back at Denise. You humiliated her in front of everyone. A low sound moved through the crowd. Not laughter, not applause. A shift. The power was no longer standing over Maya. It was standing beside truth. Denise turned to Maya, forcing softness into her voice. Maya, I was only doing my job. Maya wiped one tear from her cheek. Her voice was small but steady. Your job was never to take my dignity. Denise looked away. That single sentence did more than shouting ever could. It stripped her clean before the crowd. Evelyn stepped closer to Maya and held out the bruised orange. You gave this to me when you had almost nothing. Maya's hand shook as she accepted it. Evelyn continued. Today, it returns to you as proof. Not that you were poor, not that you needed saving, but that your heart stayed rich when the world treated you like dust. Maya broke then, not loudly, just a quiet cry that made several people lower their heads. Marcus turned toward Mr. Reed, who stood near the back with his keys in his hand. Maya and Caleb will not be removed from their apartment tonight. Mr. Reed nodded quickly. Of course. Marcus's voice cooled. Not because you fear me, because everyone here has seen what happens when people with keys forget people still have souls. Mr. Reed lowered his eyes. Yes, sir. The clinic nurse stepped forward. Caleb's medicine is ready. I will take it to him myself. Maya covered her mouth. Thank you. Evelyn shook her head. A child should never have to wait for mercy like it is a luxury. Denise stood alone now. Her staff badge hung from her jacket like something already empty. Marcus looked at her one final time. You will apologize publicly. Then you will leave this stage. Denise searched the crowd for one friendly face. There was none. The same people who had watched Maya fall now waited for Denise to lower her head. Her voice came out thin. Maya Brooks, I was wrong to accuse you. I was wrong to humiliate you. I was wrong to use my position against you. Maya did not smile. She did not celebrate. She only nodded once, because dignity did not need to dance on someone else's fall. Evelyn placed her hand near Maya's shoulder, stopping before touching her, letting Maya choose. Maya leaned in a little. That was enough. Marcus lifted the old photograph and looked at Lillian Brooks's faded face. Your mother kept her promise, he said. Now it is our turn to keep ours. He placed the protected folder gently into Maya's hands. Inside were the photograph, the letter, and the first page of a formal statement clearing her name. Maya stared at it through tears. Behind her, the charity stage doors opened, and outside the market gate, a black car waited quietly. Evelyn looked at Maya with a softness that did not demand trust. "Come with us, child," she said. "There is someone waiting to hear that your name is clean." "Come with us, child," Evelyn Whitmore said. "There is someone waiting to hear that your name is clean." Maya Brooks stood at the edge of the charity stage with the protected folder in her hands. Inside were the photograph, the letter, the clinic still, and the first page clearing her name. For a moment, she could not move. The same market that had watched her kneel in dust now stood silent around her. The same people who had laughed now looked away in shame. The same gate that had pushed her out now stood open. Marcus Whitmore walked beside her, not in front of her. Evelyn walked slowly with her cane, still holding the bruised orange like it was something sacred. Maya looked back once. Denise Caldwell stood near the stage steps, no longer surrounded by power. Her badge was gone. Her voice was gone. Her apology still hung in the air, thin and late. Maya did not hate her. She was too tired for hate. She only held the folder closer and whispered, "I just want Caleb to know I did not steal." Evelyn nodded. "Then we go to him." The black car did not take Maya to a mansion first. It took her back to the old apartment building, because healing had to begin where fear was waiting. Caleb was sitting near the window when Maya entered. The clinic nurse had already brought the medicine. His breathing was easier now, but his eyes filled when he saw Maya's face. "Did they believe you?" he asked. Maya knelt beside the mattress and opened the folder. She placed the first page in his hands. "They know the truth." Caleb read her name. Maya Brooks, cleared of theft accusation. Public complaint withdrawn. His lips trembled. Mama would have cried. Maya touched his cheek. "I think Mama already did." Evelyn stood in the doorway, quiet and humble. Caleb looked at her stained scarf, then at the bruised orange in her hand. "You are the woman Mama wrote about." Evelyn's eyes filled. "Yes, baby, and I should have found you sooner." Maya looked at her then, not with anger, not with full trust yet, with a wound that had finally been seen. "Why did you come dressed like that?" Evelyn lowered her eyes. "Because I wanted to know if people still had mercy when they thought no reward was coming." Maya's voice was soft. "Most of them did not." Evelyn nodded through tears. "But you did." The room went quiet. The cracked wall was still there. The rent notice was still near the door. The thin mattress was still on the floor. But shame no longer owned the room. Marcus stepped inside and placed a clean envelope on the crate beside Caleb's bed. "This is not charity," he said. "It is correction." Maya did not touch it. "What is it?" Evelyn answered gently. "Medical support for Caleb, legal help with the housing issue, and a vendor grant in your name." Maya shook her head, overwhelmed. "I only sold oranges from a crate." Marcus smiled softly. "Then we start with oranges." Weeks later, the market courtyard looked different. Denise was gone from management, living with the public consequence of the truth she tried to bury. Officer Grant had submitted a written apology. Mr. Reed no longer shook his keys at Maya's door. And near the front of Caldwell Market, where Maya had once been dragged out, a clean fruit stand opened under a white sign. "Lillian's Oranges." Maya stood behind it in a simple blue dress, her hair neat, her hands still the same hands that had once picked fruit from dust. Caleb sat nearby, laughing softly with water, medicine, and a schoolbook beside him. Evelyn came every morning, not as a beggar, not as a test, but as family by promise. She placed the old photograph in a small frame behind the counter. Lillian Brooks smiled from inside it. Beside the frame sat the letter marked EW. The things that once looked like secrets now looked like proof. Maya touched the frame and whispered, "We made it, Mama." Caleb grinned. "You did more than make it. You got a sign." Maya laughed for the first time in what felt like years. Marcus stood near the entrance, watching quietly. He did not take credit. He did not make speeches. He only nodded when Maya looked at him. "You earned this," he said. Maya looked around at customers waiting to buy fruit from her with respect in their eyes. "No," she said softly. "My mother planted it." I just kept carrying the basket. Evelyn heard that and wiped her tears with the edge of her scarf. The bruised orange from that first day had dried, but Evelyn kept it in a small glass case at the foundation office. A reminder. A poor girl had given food to someone she thought could never repay her. That small act opened a buried promise. It restored a dead woman's name. It saved a sick child. It returned dignity to a girl the world had tried to shame. As the sun lowered over Atlanta, Maya locked the fruit stand and placed one fresh orange beside her mother's photograph. Caleb slipped his hand into hers. "Are we safe now?" he asked. Maya looked at Evelyn, then Marcus, then the market gate that no longer felt like a wall. She squeezed his hand. "Yes," she whispered. "We are finally safe enough to breathe." And the lesson was simple. Do not look down on the poor. Do not judge people by torn clothes, dusty shoes, or empty pockets. Truth can be delayed, but it cannot be buried forever. Those who plant cruelty will one day stand in its shadow. And kindness, even as small as one bruised orange, can change a life when heaven decides it is time.